how loud I can turn.
I don't know. That's too loud.
Is that too loud?
Okay, you're good now.
All right.
What is...
Yeah.
Well, we're back.
I'm Dave.
I'm Sean.
This is Barstools and Bandtalk.
The complete maritime music bucket list. I have to take a sip of this.
Okay. I think we're on a new game now. We should just call it the Canadian bucket list or something. Or maybe this the worldwide, or just the bucket list or something. You know what I mean?
Well, and I got to tell you, I am so friggin' excited about this. Dave says you might turn into a fan. I'm going to keep it top drawer here. We just had a chat with this gentleman before we get going. This is going to be a showstopper. This is going to be killer. And I'm really excited about this because this gentleman was part of a band that within probably 3 minutes back in 1989 totally changed the way guys like Dave and I approach playing live.
It's true.
And that's going to be our intro with Dave Wanless here when we get him on here in a second.
Yeah, it was. I mean, I guess they were built for so long as the Canadian version of Guns N' Roses, but it was more than that. It was such a fearless, relentless attitude towards playing. It was. I can't even explain it. It was. You'd have to really be there, and I don't even think even a video performance would give it justice. I'm really excited to hear what they're doing now, what they're doing next.
Let's get her going. Let's just get her going.
Yeah, I'm stalling as I get my mouse going, okay? Because I get this dollar store batteries in my...
Oh, my God. Dollar store, bud. Let's go. Come on.
Yeah, okay, well...
If anybody's out there, we'll take a battery sponsorship.
Perhaps the new computer sponsorship would be nice.
Yeah,
so we have Dave Wanless from the one and only Sven Gali.
Whoa.
There he is.
G'day, sir.
How are you?
Very good. So I have to start with something because
he's going to geek out.
Intro. No, I'm not. And I said, when you guys came down here, and I don't know if you know the impact you guys had on our little old music scene when you came down here in '89 when you played the Crazy Horse. Just a quick story. There's a gentleman by the name of Dan Muse who ran the Horse who went up to Ontario to try to check some bands out. He brought a band back called Sire, who was cool. And I remember we went out, we saw them, and their singer jumped off the stage, and he had the wireless, and he was running around shaking hands. And we were like, wow, that's cool. So anyway, about 3 weeks later, this band that we had heard about called Sven Gali is playing the Horse. We missed the first night, but a bunch of girls, oh, they're awesome. It's like, of course, you think they're awesome. They're good-looking guys. We went out. We walked in, and you guys, and I still remember it, man. You guys were doing Stay Awake All Night. And Andy was on one table, Dee was on the other, stealing people's beer, and you were running around. And I looked at my buddy and I said, that's the fucking bar that we have to start at. And you guys literally, without sounding too geeky, you guys changed the scene around here in Little Old Halifax. And I don't know if you ever knew that or not.
Wow. It's funny because we had a really, really great time out there. And we'll never forget the Crazy Horse. And that's just the way we were. Like we had this feeling about us when we played live. It's just involved. There's a lot of bands when you go see them live, they just play their song, they look at their guitars, and we want to involve the whole crowd. We want to involve the whole bar, and it was just a natural thing for us. It was nothing was ever contrived. We never know what was going to happen every night. But that was great. That's funny, and I appreciate that. Thank you.
Well, and I've been waiting to say that for 30 years, my friend. Yeah, like I say, we have, when I remember when we went out and I said to Dave in the intro, you guys literally changed how everybody looked at music around here in about 3 minutes. And it was literally, we went from tapping their feet and looking at the floor to everybody was running around the bars with wireless mics, drinking people's beer. So it was great.
Yeah, and music store, can I please buy a wireless system, please, for my guitar? Yeah, I need two.
But all that aside, you guys could also play. I mean, obviously, Dave, you get the pipes. The boys could back it up too. So, really, total package bar band at the time.
And you could write songs. You could write some wicked songs too. That was the whole thing. That's what really impressed me about that band, is that they were well written, well thought out songs that were relevant at the time. And it had staying power. They still have staying power. I posted a couple of videos on our site, And we had, Jesus, I don't know how many comments. Oh, what a wicked band. I remember this. I remember that. And a lot of some memories are flooding back. It's great that you can still do that 30 odd years later. That's awesome.
Yeah, I got to be honest with you. When Dan asked us to do this, and it was just we were getting together to have a beer one afternoon, and that beer turned into this EP. And I remember driving down to New York City to record "Kill the Lies," the first song on the EP, and I was thinking about, oh my God, it hit me because it was for fun. Then it hit me driving halfway down to New York. I'm going, oh, you know what? This is 30 years later, and what are people going to think? And can I still pull it off? Do I still have what that sound? And so it played on me for a little bit. But when we got into the studio, everything felt familiar with David Bendith and the guys, and it was just nice to be back together after everything that's happened to the band and all the trials and tribulations that we went through. And it just felt good. And I think that when you hear the music or you listen to the EP, you can tell that we're having a good time and the band is back.
Right on.
Well, and I mean, I heard a couple of the tunes because Dan has posted them online, and like, I mean, wow, they're fresh. They're now, but it's not like now like that you don't like it. It's like a really, I don't even who would have influenced some of that, because I'm listening to them and I'm just super impressed with the structure and everything.
I think that's when we did first of all, hold on a second. Just having an Alexander Keith while we're
boy.
So to me music and writing, like, people like peg bands. I feel, I mean, the first record was a bunch of young kids who wrote a record in 1986. By the time all the songs were written and everything was done and we went to Los Angeles, came back, we didn't release that record till 92. So we felt that we were maybe 2-3 years late, and then the grunge scene came and everything went sideways. And when you were a band of that era, it was kind of uncool back then to do that. And then In Wired came out. So they were natural stepping stones and natural growth of musicians, of writers, of men, of young men to men, and changes in life and stuff like that. And I think it was a natural progression. And it's funny that when we started writing 3, we just forgot about what anybody would have thought of us. We forgot about what record companies would have thought. And we truly just did it for ourselves and what was in us to play. There was there was not one argument in the studio about direction. It was about just play what you feel and let's just put that down on tape, and then and we were proud of it.
Well,
so you guys brought Mr. Bendith back, and he was, I guess, instrumental in getting you guys signed way back in the day, was he not?
Yeah. So when we decided to do this again, David was always a great friend of the band from day one. And he was just as disappointed when we stopped as we were back then. So we just thought it was fitting that when we came back and just wrote this song called "Kill the Lies," that we should just use David. And we had no intention of an EP. We had no intention of people hearing anything. We just wanted to do it for ourselves. We called it. It was more like therapy for us.
Yeah.
And during that studio time when we were down in New York, we talked about a lot of stuff, and we talked about we talked about things that happened. We got a lot of stuff off our chest, and personal things that happened along the way, and it just felt really, really good. And I knew that after we did Kill the Lies, I knew that when I was driving home from New York that there's going to be more. And we have tons of material that we've written over the years. We have so much material. And we've promised ourselves that we're going to put out minimal an EP every a year and a half. Like every year we'll put out 4 more songs. I mean, you guys probably know more than I do at this point because I've been so far with music. But I don't know. Should we do an album? Should we just keep on sending songs? I don't know anymore. It's crazy music scene, right?
And it's funny because we talk to so many people, and it's like, you stream, you might not, it's really hard to get paid on that. you put an album out. It's really hard to get paid on that.
Yeah.
It seems like the touring and the merch is how you really make the money, and then make it coming in, and I guess other streams. I think multiple streams is the way that you go these days, right?
Yeah, and I think that's the beauty of where we are right now in our lives. Like, we're all financially secure. The guys in the band, we're all financially stable. The music has become how we were when we were young. We're just doing it for that. We don't have to worry about paying the bills with music.
Yeah.
Which I know a lot of bands, they go through. But we're at a point right now where we can fund everything, and if we want to do something, we have the financial means to do whatever we want to do. But right now, for us, it's just doing what we love. And if somebody came to me tomorrow and said, "Dave, I'm out. I just don't want to do it anymore," that's cool too, But in talking to the guys, and we're gonna stick around for a while now, because we got a lot to share with everybody. And if people thought that they liked 3 our EP, wait to hear the next one, because we got some songs in the can now that we've got one under our belt. We got some songs in the can that are phenomenal, and I'm very, very proud of them, and I can't wait to get them on tape. I've been getting a lot of comments to my Facebook and social media, and everybody's waiting for the new ballad from Sven Gali. There was Love Don't Live Here, there was Whisper in the Rain, there was the slow songs, and a lot of people are waiting for the new one. So we have a kind of a cool surprise coming down in the future. But right now, we're just Chris 3.
Well, because I remember, I remember when the first album came out, and I remember them playing that song at the Horse and the Moon and all that stuff. So, you had a lot of tunes written, but like you talked about Love Don't Live Here, like I had read, now correct me if I'm wrong, that was something that you kind of needed at the last minute. You went in and kind of recorded it and just went gangbusters. Is that accurate?
Yeah, we recorded that song at the Playboy Mansion in Wisconsin, just outside of Chicago. And it was, we were sitting in the studio, and the record company was saying, we have all these songs, but it'd be nice to have a ballad, if you will. And Dee came to me one night, and he had this riff, and we started singing and jamming, and all of a sudden, I'm in the studio, and we're tracking this song. That was an accident, and I think some of the special moments in music in the studio come from that. It's not contrived like the song on 3 Now. That's a song that we just let everybody go gangbusters on, and whatever. Let's just throw it down. What are we feeling that moment lyrically? I wrote the lyrics at the dining room table, and my wife helped me contribute to the lyrical writing of the chorus and stuff like that. And it was just like, all right, let's do it. It feels good. Okay, let's go play, because we had no intention of releasing anything.
Right.
So it was cool.
Yeah.
So let's take us back a little bit, Dave, because I remember Sean and I played in bands in mid-late '80s and started off. Yeah. I remember, and you might remember this, Sean. I'm not sure. We were at a place here in Dartmouth called Atlantic Illumination. We were picking up gear for this show that we're doing, and some guy had just come down from Hamilton. And he said, "Man, I just saw this band up there. They're called Sven Gali." He's like, "Hey, I saw that movie. It had a cool name. It was a really cool name." He goes, "They're fucking crazy." I was like, "What do you mean?" And he kind of explained it to us how you're on top of tables. It's like, "Oh, yeah. How are you doing that?" So that was '87. We're saying '87. So I hadn't seen you guys play here until 2 years later. But oh my God, as Sean said, what a difference it made. But you're talking about you had these songs written in '86. So what happened between '86 and '92 that didn't get recorded?
What happened?
Yeah.
We started just writing songs and then putting them aside. We just wrote songs on the road. We just wrote songs and put them aside. Wrote songs and put them aside, and then put out the first record of what we felt was the best of the best at that time. And then right after that was done, we started writing again on the road. We were touring with Def Leppard. We were in Europe. And there's a lot of time to burn on the road. Like, as you know, you're up there when we're opening for Def Leppard, we're on stage for 45 minutes. So 45 minutes out of a whole day, you got 2 choices: write some music, do something productive, or get into a lot of trouble.
Yeah.
So we kind of had a 60-40 split.
Yeah, fair enough.
And so but when we wrote, we took it very seriously. And what was great that we had great songwriters. Like Dee was a great songwriter. Andy has a great feel of melody. Sean, I love him as a bass player. His bass sound, and the way he plays, and now we're fortunate with Dan to have Dan from Varga. But yeah, so we spent a lot of time writing and just putting stuff to the side. When we left to go to Seattle, we were hanging out with Blind Melon, and they contributed to Inwired. So we're sitting and we're writing songs with those guys. We wrote Red Moon with them, and with mandolins, and just a different vibe and catching different feels. So it was like a growing experience, for us. But we have so many songs, but there's some special songs that were written when Dee was in his final months, if you will. And I spent a lot of time in Hamilton at his place, in his basement, and we wrote a bunch of stuff. And I think some of that stuff might show up on the next EP.
Wow.
And it's some really, really deep, melodic, cool songs that I wanted to get an EP or songs under my belt, if you will, for taking that so much time off before I even begin to approach these new songs, because it's going to take a performance.
Very cool. And you mentioned Blind Melon. I don't know if you saw it today. They're releasing Shannon Hoon, his autobiography, and it's all stuff that he videotaped himself, which I saw the Go on Blabbermouth. There's a really cool trailer on it.
Yeah.
It's cool. But one of the things, and I want to talk about Dee, because what a character. But one thing I want to, and you hear your talking voice, and you got that kind of high register talking voice. But who are some of your influences? Because you've always been known as that rock singer. But you go from a nice voice to a friggin' raunchy. Like, who were some of the guys that you listened to when you were coming up?
So some of my when I was young, that's when I started singing, and I was in the choir. And but I like all types of music. Like I love Prince. I love Jeff Tate from Queensbridge. I appreciate all types of music, but I think that when I get behind a microphone, I just think that different personalities come out, and different, we all have our mellow vibe, we all have our aggressive vibe as people. But when I get behind a microphone, it's just something happens. I don't even think. I just go and do, and whatever I feel, it comes up. So I remember. You guys obviously remember Operation Mindcrime.
Oh yeah.
Killer, great singer. Yep. I met him finally. He's I met Robert Plant from Zeppelin. I met all the guys, Def Leppard. I met so many people along my ways and in travels. But Jeff was the only guy. When I met Jeff, I was like, holy shit, because Operation Mindcrime, I can't tell you how many times I listened to that record. Yeah. And I always thought he was a phenomenal singer. So I appreciate him. I like so much different types of music. I like hip hop. My kids have introduced me to so many different bands, and I like Skrillex. I like I love all that stuff. I think my influences come from so many areas that I can't even pinpoint.
Well, and I've always found your voice so hard to peg, because you don't really sound like anybody. Like some people, you'll hear them, they'll go, like when Tate first came out, everybody said, oh, he sounds a little bit like Dickinson, and but I've always found you've never really sounded like anybody. So that's kind of why I want to ask you that, because you're you got the high range, you can sing your friggin' nuts off, but who does he sound like? You know what I mean?
It's funny you said that, because that comes up in, like, as I mentioned, I think I did an interview in Germany, and I did one in England this morning, and the common thread was, when you hear Sven Gali's song, it sounds like that's Sven Gali, like the sound, and I know my voice has a lot to do with that, but I think also the band, and I guess it's a fortunate thing, but.
I think you just nailed it, though, David, when you said that, because and that kind of makes sense to me now. And I agree with Sean. It's like, who does he sound like? Well, he sounded like whatever you morphed into at that moment, and that kind of makes sense. I get it now. That makes perfect sense because it's never exactly the same tone, the same register, the same feel, the same vibe. That's really cool. You could do that.
I think I think it's like an actor getting into character.
Mm.
You're portraying that song, what that song means, what lyrically that song means. And I think that's what it's like, because I love melodic music. I love melody, but I also love aggression. And so I just try to. I guess my sound is smashing them both together, and if it's fitting for the song, smashing them both together and going from there.
Like Journey and Metallica.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
But when you were coming up too, and I lived in Toronto and played up there for a bit. But you were there. Everybody knows it's a cutthroat scene. And some of your contemporaries, some of them had great singers, and maybe some of them didn't. But what was that like for you as a singer? Because I remember, when I went up there, we befriended some people from Peterborough that told me about the first time Sebastian Bach train wrecked in a club and stuff like that. So what was that like coming up?
It's funny you mentioned Sebastian, because there was comparisons between us when we were back in the day, and it comes up a lot. But the thing about Sebastian is Sven Gali, when we were touring across the country back when we first got together, 87, 88, 86, whenever that was, we saw Sebastian playing in a band called Kid Wicked.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you remember that band that he was in.
Yep.
And so we kind of got out of the gate before Skid Row showed up. But there's always that comparison between us. And, we opened up for Skid Row, funny enough. I think it was like 4 or 5 months ago. We played an arena show. We opened up for Skid Row.
Oh, nice.
And it was kind of neat to see him again, like, obviously from the scene and stuff like that. But I don't think I think I'm, although I might have that kind of sound at times, I think I'm far away from him in different areas, because he has that one kind of vibe. It's Sebastian.
Mm-hmm.
But I kind of I kind of waver and lean all over the place,
Well, and probably having to play all kinds of different cover tunes back in the day would have helped you too. You weren't doing easy stuff. I mentioned Stay Awake All Night. That was the Crocus version. And you guys used to do a ton of different stuff, right?
Yeah. And you know what? I think that's the key that, I think those days are gone, but we played, like Sven Gali was on the road constantly. We played back in the time when you would start on a Monday night. You'd play Monday to Saturday night, and we went city to city, to town, to hole, to dump, to anything, all across the country and back. And oddly enough, we went back and forth across Canada 11 times.
Are you serious?
Wow.
11 times. That's a lot of shows.
Yeah.
Well, that's where you get seasoned, out on the road.
Yeah,
right.
That's true.
And and when we went on the tour with when the record came out, we did not stop playing for a year. We were playing constantly, and then we went to Europe. We played 31 shows in 33 days across England, Ireland, Scotland, Belgium, Germany, France. And it was like nonstop. They had to start putting the name of the city on the stage because I had absolutely no idea where I was. But we came back from that tour so tight, it was ridiculous. We knew, it was just extremely, extremely tight. And you guys remember the Snow Job show?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Much Music, Snow Job, 92.
Yep.
If you listen to that, you can see how tight the band was. And that was before we left for Europe.
Yeah.
So
I have a question for you, Dave. So you guys are playing that much, and I know it's like, and Sean and I will test this too. You get kind of, even if it's your own tunes, you get kind of sick of them. You wrote them with one idea in mind, and then it kind of morphs a little bit on the road. Did the songs change a little bit when you're playing that often? Like
our original stuff?
Yeah. Did they evolve at all?
Yeah, you know what? It was great because we looked when we played so back in the day, you guys know you got to play your covers, and then you started sliding in your original stuff. Yeah. But every time we played an original, we all had to focus on this is a rehearsal. So yeah, we're playing for a crowd, but let's really focus and dial in on what we're doing here. And then so we'd come off after a set, Andy and Dee would talk about, okay, remember this guitar part? Let's change this to this. We tweak it. Next night, it would develop and develop and develop. So the time, you know how they say you have your whole life to write your first record? It's true. You have your whole life to write your first record. And then you scramble and shit the bed when you have to get that second one out.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. Absolutely. And I mean, when you guys, I remember like when you guys came out here, so you came out and played the horse, and then there was the, I don't know if you remember or not, the infamous police escort from the Misty Moon to the airport.
I remember.
Yeah.
But it was my fault that, you know, I just not to cut you off, I apologize.
No.
We had such a great time there at the Misty Moon. We had I love playing out on the East Coast. Absolutely love it. We had such a great time. The people are amazing. It's between us and everybody else who's listening, playing on the East Coast is way better than playing in Toronto. You know, when you play out on the East Coast, they're into it. They want to have a good time. They're hardworking people. And I remember that night at the Misty Moon, and I'm looking out, and I was having such a great time, and the place was packed. The window, you know how they open up the windows in the back of the Misty Moon? Yeah. We're on the street looking in, and I said, fuck it. I invited the whole bar back to our hotel.
Yeah.
But the problem is they came.
Yeah.
So
I remember that.
That caused the police to come and the escort out of the city. And it was great because when we got on the outskirts of the city, we got pulled over by the police and had a great laugh with them on the side of the road. We laughed their heads off, and it was cool.
Well, we didn't think you were going to get back, and then we were able to open for you guys. And I remember the week that we found out, we're like, man, we were scared to death because like these guys are going to kick the friggin' shit out of us. They're mean. And we interviewed Darby Mills about 3 weeks ago. One of the things that I said to her, it's so cool when you meet somebody that you grew up listening to and they're not dicks, and you probably know what I'm talking about. Like when you met Jeff Tate, hopefully Jeff Tate was a good guy.
Yes, yeah.
I just remember you guys being super cool guys, and I remember one of the coolest things for me was getting to watch your sound check, because at the time you had Greg, who was he was phenomenal, but the band just sounded so killer. And that, you know, the playing was cool, but to watch you guys in the sound check and watch you guys what you were doing was very, very cool and a great learning experience.
You know what? I think we were that band that opened for bands. We were that young bunch of kids that were watching bands and waiting to get on stage for our sound check. And they're all like the guys in Sven Gali. We're all great guys. We're all caring guys. We're all family guys. We're all just normal guys, right? And when we went on the road, it was important for us that we gave time for the opening acts, which ample time to get their sound checks, because we've been through it where headliner bands never gave us anything. Like our crew would throw the gear up and we just have to go. It happened to us several times when we were playing with Foreigner. They would sound check for so long that we would be standing there respectful, but by the time we had our shot, the only time we had was to throw our gear up there, and it was over because doors were open, right?
Yeah.
So, and we, back at the hotels, we'd say we don't want to do that to bands. Everybody, not that we were whoever we were, but bands enjoyed opening up for us because they knew that if their amps were down, we provide their amps. If there's not enough room on stage, use Greg's drums. It's about music, you know what I mean? It was never a competition. It's about who we were and about who they were, and just respecting the players and bands,
Well, that
we're
week
this
too,
music scene because we enjoy one thing together, and that's the music.
Yeah, that gig too. I had a couple of shitty cymbals that were broken, and Greg actually called his Zildjian rep and hooked me. A true story, and I was just like, "Wow, this is." Yeah, it was funny. My own hometown, I couldn't afford to go to Music Stop and get a friggin' a couple extra cymbals. Anyway, he hooked me up. It was great. So little things that you remember, and like I say, very cool that guys that you grew up listening to weren't dicks, because I hate to say it, but I met Metallica, and anyway, we'll just keep that to ourselves. But so I thank you for that, my friend. So you mentioned and you mentioned some of the stuff that you wrote with D and stuff. I mean, talk about him, because that dude, he was a character, man. He was just he wasn't a big man, but he was larger than life. I just remember watching him play. It was just like, wow, fearless, great player, all over the club. He grabbed somebody's beer and drink it and hand it back. I mean, he was just such a cool guy to watch.
Yeah, we used to call him David Lee Roth. He was the David Lee Roth of Sven Gali, and he had a huge personality, very, very caring guy. He was always writing, and he was not a selfish guy at all. He was just a cool guy. But when we got on stage, it was he turned into this bigger than life personality, and he was a very, very, very big part of Sven Gali, and he will always be that way. And having said that, out of respect to him, that's one of the other reasons why we didn't get together for so long. It was hard for us. And when we finally got together, I remember the first night when I got to New York, I was invited to Dave's house, and the whole band showed up, and we were in the kitchen with Dave. We're having a couple of drinks together, talking, reminiscing. And that evening, we decided that in respect to D, there was going to be no guitar solo on the first song, Kill the Lies. So we did that for him, because that was his spot. So we didn't do a guitar solo on that record. And what we did add was when Andy, Sean, and I were in the hospital room a few days before he passed. And it was pretty emotional, and there was a lot of things said, a lot of things brought up. And while he was there, he wrote a poem. And if you listen to Kill the Lies, there's a section of the poem he wrote that's being spoken in the middle of that song. So that
very cool.
That first song, I think, was the tribute to him, the respect for him, but it was the launching pad for us and the time to move on.
Right on.
For us, which everybody has to, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So, yeah.
Well, and Dan, he had a really neat post, because he's been posting your stuff like crazy, and I follow him on Facebook, and he labeled it as 25 years in the making, which I thought was really cool. But I mean, when did you guys just kind of, that's it, we're done? And then what did you do for that period of time? And then now you're back out, because I saw some pictures, might have been as far back as, I don't know, 2015, where you guys were playing some shows maybe in St. Catharines or Niagara Falls or something?
Yeah, so there was a little bit of, before D got really sick, that's when I told you about these songs that we started writing.
Yeah.
And I got to be honest with you, there is some killer songs that you'll hear in the future, but that's when those songs started popping up. And we thought, okay, well, that we should get together and start playing out live and stuff like that. But as that started gaining momentum, his health started failing more. And so, there was decisions to make. And at that time, we had families, we had careers, we had so much other stuff going on. It just was, although we should have maybe pursued it a little harder for his sake, but it just turned out that it just didn't work out. But we gave it a shot. But it was just a weird time for all of us, but now, and it was the same feeling I had when Dan invited me over for a beer and we started jamming some stuff, which ended up being BP. But when we started doing that, it just felt right again,
Right.
So we're very fortunate. I don't know, you guys probably know this, but we helped Varga get their record deal with BMG.
Yep.
So Dan has always been a good friend, along with Sean, with the band for many, many, many years. And it was only fitting that when we got together, we got together, us guys. So it was good. It was cool.
Well, I'm glad
he's
he's
a live
posting it.
video too. Sorry, I just want to ask this question because I thought I read about in mid '90s, maybe '96, '97. There's a live video that you guys you were working on. Did that ever come about, or
a live video?
Yeah, like almost like a full length album type live show.
Yeah. there was a lot. Like we have, it's funny because we have so many things that nobody has seen yet. There's a lot of stuff that we're looking forward to sharing with everybody, and some of that live stuff is.
Okay.
We've got stuff all across our travels across the world. If you watch the Headbangers Ball in Europe, we did a live show on MTV Europe. We played for 60,000 Hells Angels, the world reunion of the Hells Angels.
Nice.
You know, so we played that show with them, and that was live on MTV. And there's a lot of footage from backstage there, from different things. There's tons of stuff that we did. That you know, it's funny because back then there was no iPhones, there was no cell phones to say. No
Thank
video.
fuck.
You know, and so, but if I mean, maybe that was a good thing. But
Yeah.
But we still have Andy is the keeper of the footage, and he's the I don't collect anything. I'm not a collector. I'm a minimalist. I hate crap all over the place. But Andy has organized the whole. He's got every picture. He's got every magazine. He's got everything. He's got all this footage. And you're gonna slowly start seeing it over the course of time.
Nice.
The new video comes out. The new video for now comes out tomorrow. No, Friday.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah, it comes out Friday. The new video.
Oh, that's awesome.
That was shot New Year's Eve, and we played with I Mother Earth at the concert hall in Toronto.
Nice.
So you'll see the new video. It's pretty cool. It's live.
That'd be very cool. So what I want to ask you, Dave, because I mean, like, you know, the pipes are still sounding great. How much, like, what did you do when you weren't playing? Like, did you did you put your feet up and kind of live your life, or were you still playing and practicing, or what were you doing?
You know what? I got together with friends of mine from my youth and played in like a jam band here and there. Just played because for the love of music. And other than that, nothing. Like, I didn't get involved in music. There was a period after Sven Gali that I didn't want anything to do with music anymore because it just left a bad taste in my mouth. You know, we knew that we had a lot to offer, and there was a sense of unfinished business, but there was another sense of I'm just tired of the bullshit. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And everything that happened with D and moving on with life, and then the grunge scene and the whole change in music and everything that happened, it was just like, holy shit, this is just too much to try to overcome. So I really just stayed away from music.
Yep. And then you came back, and you know, it's kind of because we've talked to a number of people on this show. You know, those Monsters of Rock cruises, the Kiss cruises, like that era of, you know, when you guys first came out to say 92, grunge is still there and people remember, but it's almost like it's been sectioned out, and now the 80s and late 80s are kind of back with these, you know, and kids like your daughter probably would know of some of it, and certainly Dave's kids and my kids would. What you know, why do you think that is? Because I mean, Def Leppard's never been bigger. You know, the Motley Crue Def Leppard Poison tour was supposed to happen there, and obviously it's not. But what do you attribute that to?
I attribute it to that music was just a great time. The music was fun. It was a release for people. I find a lot of grunge is like and I respect it. Don't get me wrong. Like, some of my favorite stuff is like, you know, Soundgarden and you know, Nirvana and stuff like that. But it's a downer.
Yeah.
You know, it's a kind of a downer when, you know, you go to see Motley Crue, Girls tour. It's like hands in the air, you know, and all those bands from back in the day. Def Leppard, another great band. It's an up, you know.
Yeah, it was good. It was positive music. It was really innocent in a lot of ways. I mean, it was risque, but it was still pretty innocent, you know.
Yeah, it's a great time. I mean, it was people just went in to have fun. It was just about getting away from work and problems and whatever, and just going to have a blast. It was great, great times, and I'm happy that it's has resurgence. I'm very happy for that. You know, total respect to that whole scene with grunge and stuff like that. But you know, fuck, you can only go through a downer. So, you know, it's that's the way it is, you know.
It's pretty tough to be upset about, you know, becoming a millionaire and hating your
Yeah.
life. I get it. I do get it, but you're right.
It loses credibility to me when you're sitting on a pile of money and you're writing songs on how unfortunate you are.
Yeah, you're right.
You know.
So talk to us, Dave, about we talked to Patrick. Talk to us about RFL, because I mean, Dan's your drummer's been doing a fantastic job of posting this stuff and getting the releases out about RFL. Talk to us about this, because that's obviously another neat thing for you guys that's probably going to really start taking off.
Well, we again, as I mentioned several times, the EP was kind of it was kind of a mistake in a way, and we decided to do some shows, and we did a show in Toronto, and Fear opened up for us, and I guess they knew about Sven Gali and stuff like that, and we played a show, and then I guess I know Dan, and they have a relationship, and it was mentioned to RFL about us. So RFL got in a hold of Dan and just said, you know, what are you guys thinking? What's the future? Would you like to get involved with us? And after meeting them and speaking with them, and knowing that they were back in the days fans of Sven Gali and loved the first record, it was nice to be a part of, or have the opportunity to be a part of something that is fan based. Like those guys at RFL, they're fans of music. Yeah. It's not corporate bullshit where you walk into a gazillion-dollar record company and you got all these employees in there that don't give a rat's ass about it, and they're just there for the job. I'm in a record company where RFL, they're fans first, and that's why we decided to get involved with them, because of that. You know, we didn't want a label and all that crap. It's not for the money. It's not for anything like that. It's about the music, and so we thought that was perfect fitting. And phenomenal people, great people, really good people. John's amazing, and the whole staff, they're caring, and they don't stop. You know. So
the way Patrick explained it was just kind of like that too. And we had this interview with Darby Mills, and she talked about the distribution deals where they come up to the door, maybe ring the doorbell, maybe not, and then run away. That was all they were going to do with your product, right? Whereas these guys, it sound like, you know, if they're in with you, they're knocking on the doors, they're doing the PR work, and they're doing the tracking of your streams. And that's a big part of it, for sure. Yeah, we got they have connections around the world, and we've been doing interviews. We have our guy in Europe that sets me up in Europe. He's in Israel right now, so I do a bunch of stuff over there because the scene is still huge there, right, in Europe. So, you know, they've just been caring, and it's been great. It's been surprising, to tell you the truth. I've been surprised. You know, so many people in life are in it for themselves, and which obviously at the end of the day, you got to take care of yourselves. But these guys have a passion for music, which is refreshing. Yeah. It's refreshing. You know, it's good that you guys hook up with those guys because they have a lot to offer. They got a lot of new bands coming down the pipe.
Yeah, and you know, it was neat to talk to Patrick. It was a connection through somebody here, and you know, I don't profess to, you know, be immersed in their style of music, but man, oh man, they had some great touch points there. And you know, there's a huge metal scene out here in Halifax that they, you know, Patrick's originally from here, so hopefully we'll be able to help him get out here at some point.
Speaking of, how do we make that happen now? So there's the next question I have for you. Is Sven Gali going to, like I know you guys are obviously have big gigs and careers and families, what have you. Is this the kind of thing that you might tour with?
Well, we before we even started any of this, we all had to go home to our families and just say, okay, listen, you know, my wife has been with me, who is my girlfriend, since day one of this band. Wow. And she's been through the thick and thin and supported me, and she knows I do it because I love it. And before we started doing writing these songs and considering an EP, we all had to go home to the true bosses of the family and get the green light, you know. Yeah. And so Andy went to his wife, and we all just talked, and it was sorry, my phone's wore off. And so we got the support. And I think that if, like, my wife has heard everything that I've done, and she thinks that the EP is probably some of the best material that we've done. So we've got the support from everybody to let's get out there and let people hear it live. So,
Plus, she's got writing credits on there now too. You said she helped you with the lyrics now, so she's got some skin in the game, if you will, right?
yeah, but I get the publishing.
Yeah. Well, and I'll tell you, Dave, and it's no bullshit, because I mean, that first album I wore, I was listening to it the other day, and in my mind, the production still holds up to anything that you hear now. But I heard those tunes, and I was just like, holy crap! Like, it was just like, it was Sven Gali, but it was really fresh and new and neat, and it was cool. Like, I mean, it was just like, holy shit! Like, these guys worth the wait 25 years. I wish you had to put some more stuff out in between, but you guys should be proud of it, man.
Yeah, we are proud of it, and it's a shame with COVID that it kind of put a damper, because we were supposed to do some festivals already that have been canceled. So, but we have to get it out of our system, because as you get a little older, life's way too short.
Yeah.
It's way too short, and what are we doing? So let's get it out. Anything you want to do, you just got to put your head down and get it done, find a way. And so we're looking forward to a tour across Canada. We're really, really looking forward to coming to your neck of woods, because it's one of my favorite places in Canada to play. Literally. Love it.
Well, I got to tell you, Dave, there's a bar out here. It's called Monty's. It's a throwback to the Crazy Horse. The stage was designed by a gentleman who is a musician. So it's the best stage, best lights, best sound in the city. That's where I would see you guys playing, and they could pack in, 400 or 500 people easily.
Yeah, great. Looking forward to it.
Do you guys, do you have management, or are you managing yourself?
I'm sorry?
I said, do you have management, or are you managing yourself?
We have a that's Andy's department, but we have a booking agent, if you will.
Okay.
We kind of manage ourselves. We're at that point right now where we can, take care of that stuff.
Yeah.
But we do have a booking agent, and we were playing like here in Burlington, Ontario. There's a festival called Sound of Music. It was to happen June 20th this year, and we were headlining the Saturday night with Honeymoon Suite.
Oh, nice.
And then we had some other shows that were booked, and we were offered festivals across the country, and then obviously in Europe, Germany and England and all over. But everything is on hold right now. But what Andy's starting to do right now is they're looking at next year, and we will start picking some dates and putting some groupings together for next year to get out if we get the green light to get out there.
Right on. Well, if you guys are getting out this way, I'd love to be able to, because we've got some people. One of our good buddies works with Sonic Events out here, and they're probably one of the biggest promoters and show buyers here. So yeah, it'd be we'd love to see you out here.
Yeah, well, we'll stay in touch with you guys, and then and stay in touch with me, and we'll turn you on to the powers that be here, because we're definitely coming out there again. We have to.
Oh yeah.
That's on our list. Yeah, we love it out there. I can remember. I like the whole area, even going into Newfoundland. So I think we got screeched in 37 times before we even freaking got on stage.
Yeah. Well, how long has it been since you've been out here?
Since we played.
Oh wow. Well, we've got big buildings now. You can't even see anything from the hill.
Really?
So there you go. Oh, it's the old Misty Moon's a condo now. I mean, they basically kept the bones and they turned it into about a 18 or 19 story condo building. The Crazy Horse rest its soul. Yeah. It's a big pit in the ground. But there's some cool bars. But Monty's would be one that I think you guys would just absolutely rock the shit out of, man.
Yeah, well, we'll definitely play there. I've mentioned to my family that I want to go out there just to visit. I feel at home out there for some reason. I don't know what it is, but we really feel good out there. We had a great time.
You have family here?
Well,
I'm sorry?
You say you have family here?
No, my family here. They've never been on the East Coast.
Oh yeah.
I want to drag them out there.
Yeah.
And then and show them around, show them places, and just hang out.
It's beautiful.
Maybe look you guys up to get that beer out of you guys.
Well, we'll get you a beer. We'll get you lots of
No
beer, and
problems.
we'll show you some of the hot spots. And yeah, like I say, it's we've still managed to have big buildings, but keep some of the old charm too, right? So
Yeah.
it's kind of cool, right?
Maritimes are a different breed for sure. Like I said, it's we like what we like. We're trying to be open towards ideas, but they're passionate about the music. The live music has always been a passion here, and you can see this getting kind of like you said with the grunge music and some of the things that happened, and just the economy in 2007, 2008, and some of the big bars just went down. And you see people getting a little bit despair, but they still keep fighting back because they want what they want, right? So.
It's funny because a lot of the good friends of the band moved from your area, moved to Toronto, thinking that I'm going to greener pastures. And after a while being in Toronto, everybody started going back, and that's where I think a lot of our close friends are from the East Coast.
Yeah, well, I'm one of those, sir, because I was up there from '93 till 2007, and moved back. And you know what? And I'm glad I did. I still have a ton of great friends up there, and all my buddies that are up there that are from there that lived here. It's weird. Like if you're from there and come here, you want to stay, but if you're from here and go there, you want to come back. It's a bizarre thing. Yeah.
You guys are you got a special place.
And you know what? And part of this whole little thing that we're doing here started out of some of the bad shit that started happening about 3 months ago, and obviously you know that. But we've really strived to kind of keep it positive, keep it fun, and this little segment, I tell you, you're gonna bring a lot of memories back for folks. And when I started at the beginning, when I said you guys kind of changed the way everybody thought about music around here, that was no bullshit, my friend, because it was I remember the moment in time, trust me.
And you know what, I gotta tell you, there's like we've played big shows, and as I mentioned, we've been in some huge situations and stuff like that, but when I'm alone or I'm in my garage and I'm chilling or whatever like that, and music comes to my mind, I always comes to my mind getting a police escort.
Well, not too many people can brag that and get back.
We could probably organize another one for you if you get down here.
Well, for old time's sake, one of my best friends is a cop, so maybe we can gear that up. Good publicity stunt.
Yeah, that's fun.
It's Dave Wanless. He's back in Halifax.
Yeah, that's right.
Listen, we should probably let you go, brothers. We sure appreciate you being on the show. Any closing thoughts at all? Like, what should people know about the new Sven Gali? What should people know about Dave? Like, what should people know?
I just think, just want people to know that we've always, the East Coast has always been in our minds. It comes up all the time in our conversations when we're just hanging out with each other and just, having a beer and just shooting the shit. And we're looking forward to, we're very, very happy that we have some music to offer everybody. And we're looking forward to getting out there. And I think that when we finally do get out there, we better take a week off after that and just hang out there because it's going to hurt the next day.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah, but the fucking beer costs $8 a bottle here now, so you can't kick them over anymore, right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. But we'll try to do our part to get you guys out here for sure, my friend.
Yeah. Cool. Awesome.
Appreciate your time. This was awesome and long overdue. And we'll stay in touch. And good luck with the rest of it. Looking forward to seeing that video on Friday night.
Yeah, it's Friday. Yeah, it's awesome. Yeah, and thank you very much, and thank you for your patience. I know I missed. I screwed up a couple times, but
it was worth the wait, bud.
You're worth the wait, brother. That's exactly right. You're worth the wait. And so, you know what? And so is Sven Gali, worth the wait. I know it's been waiting for a long time. Get that stuff off your chest for therapy. I love that. I really looking forward to hearing the next stuff too.
Yeah, it's coming.
All right, brother.
Thanks,
brother. Good seeing you. We'll be in touch.
Thanks so much.
Okay, man. Take care.
All right, you
ciao.
too. Okay, ciao. Peace.
All right.